The tech world is going through a massive shift. Over 200,000 employees have been laid off by big tech giants like Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon. But what's driving these layoffs? Is it just about survival, or is there a deeper profit-driven motive? In this video, we're diving into the heart of the issue and exploring the real cost of these layoffs on workers and society. Let's get started. In 2023 alone, the tech industry has seen over 200,000 layoffs. Companies that we associate with innovation and progress are now slashing their workforces at unprecedented levels. Layoffs.fyi, a website tracking these job cuts, shows us the shocking scale of this trend. But here's the twist. Many of these companies are still massively profitable. Google reported a staggering $282 billion in revenue, while Microsoft brought in $198 billion. Yet, despite this profitability, they've laid off thousands of workers. So why would companies that are clearly doing well choose to downsize? The answer lies in the relentless pressure to deliver ever-increasing returns to shareholders. With tech stocks experiencing slowdowns in 2022 and early 2023, company executives started looking for ways to maintain profitability. And one of the quickest ways to do that? Cutting labor costs. By laying off employees, companies can show an immediate boost in their financials, which keeps shareholders happy. But it's not about innovation or a strategic pivot for long-term success. It's about meeting quarterly profit targets. In other words, it's all about optics. One person who's had a huge influence on this trend is Elon Musk. After acquiring Twitter, now called X, Musk cut 80% of the workforce, terminating over 6,000 employees in a matter of months. He justified this as a necessary move for the platform's survival. But as we saw, this drastic reduction caused chaos. User experience plummeted, platform stability faltered, and yet other tech companies took notice. Shortly after, Meta laid off 13% of its workforce, and Google followed with 12,000 job cuts. The Harvard Business Review even coined this as the Musk effect, a ripple in corporate culture where other CEOs felt empowered to adopt similar strategies. What's shocking is that many of these companies had publicly criticized Musk's approach before quickly adopting it themselves. While companies benefit in the short term, the long-term consequences for workers are devastating. For every job lost, there's a ripple effect on families and communities. According to the Kaufman Foundation, a laid-off worker loses on average 20% of their lifetime earnings, even after finding another job. This financial instability affects more than just the individuals. It affects children's education, healthcare access, and even housing. Communities suffer as consumer spending drops, which hurts local businesses. The human cost of these layoffs goes far beyond the boardroom. It's felt at every level of society. One interesting contrast is how different regions handle layoffs. In Europe, countries like France and Germany have stricter labor laws that protect workers. For example, in France, companies need to justify layoffs with clear financial data before they can proceed, especially if they're still turning a profit. Meanwhile, in other countries like the US and Canada, labor laws are much more lenient, allowing companies to shed jobs with minimal oversight, even while they report record profits. It's a stark difference in how workers are treated globally. They may also be required to provide severance pay, retraining opportunities, and other forms of support to affected workers. This leaves American tech workers more vulnerable to the whims of the market and the decisions of their employers. The path forward: policy, protection, and perspective. So, what can be done? How do we address the root causes of tech layoffs and mitigate their devastating consequences? It requires a multi-pronged approach involving government policy, corporate responsibility, and a shift in perspective. Governments need to step in and create policies that hold companies accountable. This could include mandatory severance packages, layoff taxes, or regulations that require companies to justify mass layoffs, especially when they're still profitable. For companies, layoffs aren't the only option. Many analysts argue that instead of focusing on short-term profits, companies should prioritize long-term stability and innovation. This means investing in their workforce, fostering a culture of innovation and collaboration. This would benefit not just the workers, but the entire economy. The role of automation, a looming threat or overblown fear. The rise of automation and artificial intelligence is often cited as a contributing factor to tech layoffs. While it's true that automation can displace certain jobs, it's important to remember that it also creates new ones. The key is to ensure that workers have the skills and training necessary to adapt to these changes in the job market. This requires investment in education and retraining programs that equip workers with the skills they need to thrive in an increasingly automated world. Rather than fearing automation, we should embrace its potential to improve productivity, create new industries, and free up human workers to focus on more creative and fulfilling tasks. Rethinking corporate responsibility, a new social contract? The wave of tech layoffs has sparked a broader conversation about corporate responsibility. In an era of record corporate profits, is it acceptable for companies to treat their employees as disposable assets? Some argue that a new social contract is needed, one that recognizes the contributions of workers and ensures that they share in the prosperity they help create. This could involve measures such as profit sharing, employee ownership, and a greater emphasis on stakeholder capitalism. Companies that prioritize the well-being of their employees, not just their shareholders, are more likely to attract and retain top talent, foster innovation, and build long-term sustainable businesses. A call to action, building a more resilient future. The tech layoffs of 2023 are a wake-up call. They expose the fragility of a system that prioritizes short-term profits over long-term stability and the well-being of workers. But it's up to both governments and corporations to make sure workers don't pay the price for corporate greed. It's time to move beyond the rhetoric and take concrete action to ensure that the tech industry of the future is one that benefits all. The challenges are real, but so are the opportunities. Let's seize this moment to build a better future for all. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Tech Insight for more deep dives into the trends shaping our world.